Alright, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to Musi Gaming here, and today we are going to make a tier list with the addition of GamChan, who was the latest cavalry commander that was just announced in the game of Rise of Kingdoms. That's going to come out towards the end of November. Right now, today is November 8th. So that means that we're going to actually have GamChan in the game in about 2 to 3 weeks. But we already know what his skills does and do. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the tier list, or make a tier list for the open field in Rise of Kingdoms based on some of the standards that we'll be setting here on the tier maker. And it's gonna be very similar to the ones that we did before, but then again, it's gonna have GamChan in the mix, along with the fact that we had now a chance to kind of test out the Achilles at the end of the day. Oh, actually, no. Omniarch actually already updated those commanders. Okay, cool. Awesome. Alright, so let's start this tier list off by putting the standards into place. And here's what I always do. Put one above. And I actually start from defining what each tier means. And I usually like to start from triple S, which is usually the one and only god of RK. There's one commander, if we were to choose one single commander in Rise of Kingdoms that we can actually put at top of everything else, that is going to be that commander that's going to be in triple S. Got it? There's no really argument about that too. And that triple S is actually going to be promoted from double S. And double S is one commander of the best commander of the troop type. So this commander is going to be the best commander of that troop type. For example, we're going to have one commander that's going to be the best commander in Rise of Kingdoms for archers, infantry, and cavalry, and maybe siege. And we'll go ahead and tell people, hey, like, this is the best commanders that each troop type will have. Among those, which commander is going to be the best, we'll go ahead and move one of them up to triple S. S tier means that the best commander, equivalent, or parry. So if you're actually put in the S tier, that's going to be only one commander per each troop type, and that commander is going to be either the best commander equivalent, or it's going to be the best commander pairing for that troop type, basically. Got it? And A tier is going to be best alternative to S or SS. So if you have best alternative to S or SS, that's going to be an A tier. Or actually, you know what? Best second march options. I think that's probably the best way to put this, right? If your commander is in the A tier, they're not the best. Like, they're not the best pairing inclusion, but they're going to be one of the best options that you'll be able to find for your second marches for each troop type. For example, if I want to run 2 cavalry marches, what is the best second march that I want to put in? And all the commanders that's going to be in there are going to be in the A tier list. Is that clear? Alright, so B tier. B tier means that second march option, second or third march option. Good second or third march options. I think that's the point, right? So this commander may not be something that I would ever put gold test on in today's thing. But like, if I had those commanders available, I'll still use them on the field, is what B is. C tier is okay to have, optional, okay to not have. Or just average. How about that? Average. Average commander. Do not use Gold Hes. Yeah. Anything in the C tier, do not use Gold Hes. I think that should be also B tier though. So actually, C tier is barely usable. How about that? And then the D tier, not meta. Borderline unusable. Actually, let's go ahead and get rid of D tier. And let's just say D tier, do not use. Ever. There you go. B tier is fine as transitional form, older to newer account. Yeah. I think that's a good kind of, that's a good tier list. Triple S, the one and only God of Rise of Kingdoms. Double S, the best commander of the troop type. S, the best commander equivalent. Or pairing. And then A tier, best second march options. B tier, good second or third march options. C tier, F tier. And then I'll say, I'll go ahead and move this over. Because I think they deserve a separate position. Pre-KVK tier options. Yeah, pre-KVK options that you can consider. Pre-SOC, Season of Conquest options that you can consider. Right? So if I'm, let's say, talking about, so that a great commander for pre-season of Conquest options that you can consider between A tier and B tier, I'll say something like CJ. You can consider running CJ. And I'll just go ahead and put in like the best commanders in terms of their order at the end of the day, right? All right. With that said, the God still hasn't changed. Maybe C tier outdated? Oh, outdated. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go, team. There you go. The God still hasn't changed. Let's work from SS and then move up to the triple S tier. And let's go ahead and put in all the relevant commanders. Those are not relevant commanders. Are we kidding? GamChan and Hector, I think, needs to be there. I don't think this guy is relevant in the field. Let's go ahead and move all the commanders that might be relevant on the extras. Arthur definitely is one of them. Ho, Liu Che, Herman, Zhuge Liang, William Wallace. What else? Belisarius? Okay, let's put Belisarius there. Joan of Arc Prime definitely. You can put in those commanders. I'm just putting up all the field commanders. I'm filtering all those non-field commanders. Maybe Archer Venefall can be in there too, because he is actually usable on the field. CJ, Pakao. Yeah, I'm separating all the rally or garrison commanders from everyone else. So let's see. Artemisia is field commander, right? Guan Yu, Attila could be a field usability. I know that some people like to use him. Tommy, I don't know about everyone else though. Okay, all those commanders. I think we're okay here. Now let's just go ahead and do a little quick sweep through one more time. Gilgamesh, I think, is a field commander. Montezuma, let's just put him in there. All right, I think that's all the commanders that we can think of. All right, so let's start from SS tier as always. What do you guys think? SS tier. Obviously, Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang, I think, is undoubtedly still in the SS tier. Or SSS tier. Because that's, the triple S tier is a candidate for SS tier at the end of the day. I think Arthur... So, here's the thing. Arthur versus Achilles. I think that's the big question that we have. Should we put Arthur as SS tier, or should we put Achilles as SS tier? I think Arthur is still a better commander overall. Just because if you have Arthur, like, I think because of his expertise, for the most part, that 50% chance to launch one extra combo attack that can theoretically go infinitely with 70% chance of trigger with butterfly effect. I think this is just irreplaceable in combo commanders. Along with 30% combo damage bonus from his third skill, I think it is still fair for us to say that Arthur is still technically the best commander of the Troop Hyper account. Triple S tier needs to go to Sun Tzu. You guys think Achilles? Really? I feel like Achilles need more field testing. I think so too. More synergy with the armament. Yeah, I think more synergy with the armament is like the biggest thing, right? I think if Achilles had a single kind of like combo proc on his auto, or like his 4 skill had like a combo proc, or if this one, if this skill right here, it deals 10% more normal damage. If this was like 20%, I think I would have put Achilles at the double S tier. But for now, as far as what I've seen, I think Achilles is a little bit more of a versatile commander than anything else. I think it is safer to still put Arthur at the very top. For now, we can maybe change once GamChan comes out. And once I get to test more with Arthur Achilles. But so far, I think this is probably the best. And among infantry, is it Liu Che or Bai Chi, guys? Liu Che or Bai Chi? Where's Liu Che at? Did I forget Liu Che? I am so sorry, infantry mains, if I forgot Liu Che. No, Liu Che's right here. Is it Liu Che or Bai Chi, guys? Five AoE for cavalry won't be replaced for a very long time. I agree with you. But I think the damage factor, yeah. Achilles is still 2,000 damage factor, right? Versus Arthur at 2,800 damage factor, right? So that will do a potential damage of what? 5,600 damage? Combo damage. And this has a potential to do... I heard it doesn't go below 50% of the original damage. So this will do what? Like 4,000 or 5,000 damage factor? Circular is good. But I think that, yeah, the fact that this has more damage factor also kind of gives it a little bit more strength that our Achilles is maybe contender, but still Arthur right now for what we've seen is #1 commander of cavalry in my opinion. Liu Che for sure. Okay, I agree with you guys all. So very easy. Now we're missing one commander from Siege. And just for the sake of our friend here, the Kevin, I'll put a single Siege commander there in the double S. That is our boy, Gonzalo. Gonzalo is a ranged smite commander, ranged smite damage commander that does AoE. He is OP. Yo, Seno, how's it going, man? And if I were to say that what is the single #1 best Siege commander that you'll be able to find in Rise of Kingdoms, I'll say Gonzalo. Gonzalo is irreplaceable in my opinion. I think they went a little too far with the ranged smite damage in my opinion. And that's why I think Gonzalo deserves a spot among the gods. Like, this is the god realm right here, right? And I think, yeah, he deserves a spot there. Alright. Double S. I think that's pretty much everything. I don't think... Like, I would put Hector here, but like... Because we don't really have that many other, like, good leadership pairing. But I think Hector is more designed for Garrison Commander, in my opinion. So, although, by definition, we should have one leadership commander there, I don't think any of the leadership commander deserves to be on the same spot as these guys. Only good March is Gaza Gonzalo. Nothing else is worth it. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Let's just go ahead and do that. Gaza Gonzalo. There you go. Put Gonzalo and Gaza at the very last place for S and SS tier. With that said, though, Achilles is a very strong contender for S tier. Let's just go ahead and put that in there. And let's promote one commander to Triple S, and I think everyone agrees to this. Does anyone object to Qin Shi Huang being the one and only god of Rising Kingdoms? Does anyone object to this? Qin Shi Huang, the man with 10,000 plus damage vector, potential possibility, in a single 10-second damage cycle. No? Going once? Going twice. And it is so, guys. The god has not changed. The one and only god of Rising Kingdoms has not changed, and that is Qin Shi Huang, guys. Oh god, Qin Shi Huang is so OP. Yeah. Let's move on. We don't need to talk about Qin Shi Huang at this moment. Yeah, we all know that he is the god of Rising Kingdoms. Now, I hate archers, but I won't argue with it. Yeah. I mean, I think the reason why we hate archers to begin with is because of how powerful Qin Shi Huang is. I think we were all okay with archers until Qin Shi Huang became like the most overpowered commander in Rising Kingdoms. But I'm okay with it to a degree because, hey, and that's the thing. Like, it's one of the commanders that I think that we actually, you know, like, the archers need it, right? Archers needed Qin Shi Huang. I think that's what it is. Alright, now S tier. So here's the thing. So we have two candidates for S tier for archers. Obviously, right now the best pairing for Qin Shi Huang is indeed YSG, right? But Zhuge Liang is very close. But as a commander, I think Zhuge Liang is a better commander. But YSG with 62% skill damage buff, along with the fact that Qin Shi Huang is missing any damage buffer whatsoever, makes him so strong. It makes his pairing one of the best pairing, the best pairing in Rising Kingdoms, right? Archers were dead until he came out. Yeah, I agree. We got Doug, Kevin, and Kevin. Justin RK, Qin Shi Huang revived archers. I know. Archers needed it. I think everyone agrees that they needed it. Okay, you guys. Fine, you guys can take him. What I'll do, though, I think this is an easier solution than anything else. I'm going to go ahead and move YSG down to preseason conquest options you can consider. I don't think there is any real kind of reason for us to fight here. We just got to move him down to here. Preseason conquest god is YSG in my opinion. I don't think it's going to change. Yeah, it is what it is. I think this kind of clears out all the potential debate for them. And we'll go ahead and move Zhuge Liang above our Gazamata. I'm sorry, maybe as a commander Gazamata is better, but I'm just saying that Zhuge Liang is archers. He's one of the more mainstream guys. We get it. He deserves a spot above it. Now, I think this is the trickiest that we'll have. Is Achilles better than Bai Chi, guys? I personally think so. But I'm the guy who has the best cavalry setup, one of the best cavalry setup in the game, right? I have like Iconic 5 everything and crit. And I have Delta formation that's missing what, like single percent digit stats missing. I have like one of the maxed out stuff. I use Arthur Achilles, it shreds everything, right? It shreds everything. The only couple people that can compete with my like cavalry setup is most likely Chasky and whoever won the first place for the Delta setup for with like 7.6% all damage, right? With that said, I cannot make an unbiased decision on whether Achilles is better than Bai Chi. I think you guys need to vote for it. Let's go ahead and put a poll. Is Bai Chi versus Achilles for the best S tier slot? And I'm gonna put in Bai Chi and Achilles. How about that? You guys can start the poll. We'll go ahead and finish it, and then we'll move it around at the end of the day. And so that I don't get that much hate. So that I don't get that much hate. Alright, so now I think S tier is where you can potentially think about, okay, well, do we want Hector or Philip in the mix? So this is a very tricky question in my opinion. Because like Philip used to be the best pairing for Arthur. There was no kind of question about it. But now that main job of Philip is now gone. And is now taken by Achilles in my opinion. Achilles is still better in terms of circular AoE. Yo, you guys need to vote, guys. It looks like Bai Chi supporters are winning. We got 3 votes, 2 votes for Bai Chi, 1 vote for Achilles. And I'll go like strictly by the votes. I personally think Achilles is better, but again, I cannot give unbiased opinion because I'm looking at my stuff and like I don't have the best Bai Chi Lucia setup. And like this guy shreds everything, right? And I cannot be like, okay, like Bai Chi Lucia cannot be stronger than this. On the open field especially, right? But if you guys don't vote for it, I will save my butt by letting you vote for it. But yeah, like going back to Philip and Hector. Does Philip deserve a spot in S tier? What do you guys think? And I think like if you want to use Philip, now you have to use it behind Zhuge Liang. Or I think Jonabar Prime, right? That's the only part that's the only places that you can use it. Maybe if you want a leadership buffer march, you can have Philip with Trajan. But that march is so hard to recommend in 2025, I feel like. You think Philip is a bad investment in this era? Is it back investment or bad investment? If you haven't used it, yeah. But like you guys gotta understand, S tier is still the God realm, right? Like if you have one best march in Rise of Kingdoms, you're using Philip. You're using any of those commanders here, right? If you're using Siege March, you're using these two. If you're using Cavalry March, you're using these two. You're using Infantry March, you're using these two, and then you're using Archer March, you're using either these two or these two, right? I think we need to move them to A tier just by their definition, in my opinion. Like, at the very least, I think they need to be moved right here. Just because, like, yeah, the 4 setup is already set here, right? We have the best Cavalry March, we have the best Infantry March, best Archer March, question mark? And then we have the best Siege March. Yes, I think we need to move it down to A tier because it's the best second march option. It's not included in that definition of the best commander equivalent or pairing. This hurts, but he might be A tier. But if you already invested in him, use him. Yeah. Both probably A tier, Hector and Philip. I agree. Yeah, I think you should just put. We should just go ahead and put them in A tier. They're versatile, and hence they can really work around any second best like march options. But yeah, this realm is like set, guys. This like SSS S tier. Like there's no real debate about this, right? So yeah, I think we can move them at A tier, and we can start on A tier from now on. I'm just gonna listen since I have no clue. No worries, man. No worries. Alright, so A tier. Does a new commander deserve to be an A tier, guys? Do we have a place for our man GamChan here? Gangnam Style. Do we have a spot for him in A tier? Like, I'm genuinely not sure at this point, right? Can you use GamChan with Philip or GamChan with Hector? GamChan is a lower S or upper A? You think so? Cat really needs a new commander. I know. He does have 3,000 damage factor for sure. Cavalry were really glass cannon until now, so this could be good. Maybe. Okay, I think I'll leave him at A tier. Just because of the fact that... So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna leave him at A tier because, by definition, second best march options. If Cavalry wants to run 2 Delta, I think GamChan needs to be included in there. Right? Like, if you want to use 2 Cavalry March stuff, you're either running Joan of Arc Prime with Ho Chi Bing or GamChan with Philip or Hector or whatever it is that you want to use him with. I personally don't think you should separate those two guys just because of how strong they are as a commander pairing. I know that a lot of people are saying that GamChan should be used with Achilles, and then Arthur should be used with, I don't know, Hector or Philip. But I think Arthur, Achilles does not need to be separated, in my opinion. I'm not going to separate them personally. But yeah, I think we have to put him at the bottom of the A tier for now, because he's a single target user. Or maybe, I think above leadership. Above leadership for sure. Okay. I think this is good. Joan of Arc Prime, though. What do you guys think about Joan of Arc Prime? Is he above or below GamChan? I think he... It's tough to say, but I think maybe Joan of Arc Prime does deserve a spot above GamChan. She's like the only cavalry skill damage commander that is relevant, in my opinion. Cortex, this said GamChan with Achilles is the pair to go with 2 cap setup. Yeah, well, probably. I feel like I feel like we're forcing 2 Delta at that point. But if you need to use 2 cavalry marches, I think like GamChan with Achilles makes sense. Arthur would... Now we gotta put it back with Philip or Hector. Yeah, that's a pain, you know? But yeah, like if you want to run 2 Delta, I think that's it. Full GamChan? Joan is at near end of her lifespan? Really? You think so? I feel like because she's like the only cavalry AoE commander, right? Aside from William, I think we still can have Joan of Arc Prime at somewhere here. But if they never revisit cavalry with skill damage, I agree with you 100%. So maybe we can put her behind here. So we have GamChan, who's like the Ho Chi Bing / Shazar equivalent of Delta. And because we're going more towards Delta, maybe he is okay to be ahead of Joan of Arc Prime. Joan is cooked. She died when combo came into the game. You guys think we should actually bump Joan down to B tier? Is that what you guys are saying? You know what? As a cavalry main who has used Joan for such a long time, let's take a look at how much kills that my Joan has. Like, yeah, like 76 million kills. Is that better than my Ho? Yes, yeah, it's better than my Ho. I don't know about Arthur, to be honest. It's better than my Arthur. Yeah, as a cavalry main who used Joan for the the longest time, it pays me to do this, but maybe Joan of Arc Prime now deserves a B tier. I think Joan of Arc, it pains me, but I think cavalry, the skill damage era of cavalry has potentially come to an end, where if we have a way for us to use 2 Delta setup, we'll use 2 Delta setup. We're not gonna look back at cavalry skill damage and be like, hey, like we need to use cavalry skill damage. Like, I don't think we're gonna go back to that route ever. Yeah, Joan is on a B because I feel like combo is a Cav's future, yeah. And it is also for the sake of me suggesting to people who are watching this video and be like, hey, like, you should invest in Joan because he's an A tier. No, I can't do that anymore. Sadly, I can't do that anymore. And I'll just go ahead and put our best pairing for Joan right here below Joan. And then that could be your second or third March option. Yeah, I think this is the only way that we can go with this. While we're here, we'll clean up some of these. Okay, I think these two can be in the B tier. Don't really care which direction that they go with it. I think that could be our thing. I think Herman Prime can be in the B tier just because of the fact that Herman Prime could be the second best archer pairing, but just above Siege, barely hanging, I would say. But he does have good usage, right? He does have the skill damage buff, the Taken debuff that he applies. So I think Musa should drop 6k real quick to wear though. A gold chest for fun. Maybe if I get employed again. I'm interviewing, so you guys will find out towards the end of the month, I think. And yeah. So if I do get hired again, maybe I'll do some gold chests, guys. Maybe I'll do some gold chests. All right. Oh my God, another very difficult person. Ragnar Prime, guys. Ragnar Prime. Where do we put Ragnar Prime? Add Ragnar there too? Yeah, probably. I think he is stronger than those two, maybe. He's a much later release. And I think overall, yeah, his kit was pretty good when it first came out. It made infantry players look back at skill damage and be like, oh well, maybe we can look into making infantry again with skill damage. But yeah, we gotta put him here. William Wallace, I would say he's like the end of A tier. Like, I think you can use William Wallace with Hector, and I think that would be the best secondary infantry march right now, with a sprinkle of CJ, but I think CJ deserves to be B tier. Or maybe preseason of conquest options. Yeah, there you go. I think CJ actually is probably arguably comparable to YSG, but for preseason of conquest. But I think this is I think YSG, because you can use him for KVK 1, and the fact that you can pair him up with YSG afterwards, YSG's value is still untouchable. We'll take Sun Tzu over YSG, Ragnar Prime any day. Yo! Alexander 555, okay. Alexander 555, I think it might be okay. 5551? Okay, the force skill is kind of a stat stick. The expertise though, expertise does kind of give you a little bit more. Yeah. I'll say if you can expertise him, you can. But 5551 is okay, I think. But yeah, let's go ahead and move to Nebu. Nebu is Nebu C or F, guys? Is Nebu C or F? I think Nebu is a C. Don't you guys agree? No chance Ragnar can replace Baichi or Luce when you break that pairing. Yeah. In all honesty, I think you should not break the Baichi Luce. and then you should just use William Wallace with CJ. If you're using 2 infantry marches for pincer, I personally think that's the case. Belisarius Prime, probably outdated. Like, I would usually put him in B tier, but now I think he's a little outdated. Yeah. Again, skill damage, he's not even the best pairing options. I think we can put Belisarius Prime into C, outdated. But he does have his use for swarming, so I'm going to put him at the very front place of outdated. Boudica Prime, outdated. Scipio Prime though, I'll say he's around here. I think he's better than Huo maybe, because he's a AoE commander. Yeah, I think Scipio Prime can be here. Zuge, YSG, Herman, Xinshi Wang. Anything else is bad, not gonna lie. Yeah, I agree. Low C for what, Alec? Bertrand. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I actually expertise Bertrand. And I just did it from the dailies. And I swear to God, this is my worst investment ever. My worst investment in a single commander in Rise of Kingdoms is Bertrand. Is it usable in preseason Conquest though? Does it deserve a spot here? I don't think so. Maybe I'll put it at the very last spot for it. But yeah, guys, Bertrand is a big rip, in my opinion. Bertrand is a big rip. Preseason Conquest for F? Yeah. Yeah, he's so bad. Yeah, I wouldn't even recommend people to build him in preseason Conquest. Like, if you're building him, just build Minamoto YSG. Build Saladin, build skill damage commander, transfer it over. It's not gonna be the end of the world. Yeah, this guy, no way, Jose. Now, Nevsky. Is this the day that we put him in the outdated section, guys? Is Nevsky outdated, guys? How you doing, Drain Gaming? I got my troops back, so I'm doing better, man. Thanks for asking, Arplay. Thanks for asking, man. Nevsky outdated. Nevsky C. Out of respect for Nevsky, guys, we'll put him at the very top slot of C tier, and we'll go ahead and move on. We'll not talk about Nevsky. He was a great commander. He was a good friend of mine. You guys can see that I have Star Nevsky. I'm gonna unstar Nevsky. He did 60 million kills with me. I'm gonna star Arthur, Achilles, Attila, Subutai. And I'm gonna even unstar Ho Chi Minh. Maybe no. No, that's going too far. And there you go. I just unstarred Nevsky. Let's let Nevsky go, guys. Let's not talk about him. This is his funeral. We're done. Yeah, I started Cleo probably by accident, my friend. That hurts to say. I know. My friend Nevsky, what happened to you? You know what they should do? They should maybe let KVK2 KVK2 Nevsky will be overpowered. They should put all the outdated commanders in the KVK2, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Nevsky is making a return. He's gonna be smite. Maybe that could be the case, Prince Boom. Cleopatra up with the big boys. Yeah. Let's put a little monument for our Nevsky here. Yeah, we will remember Nevsky and all the gold heads that we put into Nevsky forever. Because all the gold heads that I put in for Nevsky forever. 685 gold heads that I put into Nevsky. As I hoarded gold heads from KVK 3. And back then, even KVK 4, I think, was like, oh my god. 685 gold heads that I put in Nevsky, guys. Rip. Let's put a monument. Let's remember him. He was a great commander. Smite Cab will be weird, yeah. Yeah, KBK2 will be too overpowered. So many Golders. I know. Alright, let's move on. Asher Venipal. Doesn't Asher Venipal deserve to be in a B tier? I think he deserves to be a B tier. Like, good second or third March option. Like, I think he's a good third March option. Just make Nepsi combo and smack a museum buff. Ooh. That's gonna anger a lot of new players, I feel like. Asher Venipal B tier, the end of B tier. Is that okay with you guys? I think that's a pretty good place for it. Low B, high C, yeah. Either here or here, but we'll see. Pakao. Pakao probably outdated. Yeah, if you want to use an infantry like anti-swarm marches, you can still technically use Pakao for rally, but not for open field, I feel like. XY is beyond outdated at this point, I think. Do not use ever, perhaps. No, I think he's just do not use ever. Don't use XY. Honda Tadakasu, the same deal. Trajan's just outdated, I feel. He's still usable, but I think Trajan's outdated. Cyrus apparently is really good in preseason conquest. I heard. What do you guys think? Cyrus? Because if you look at Cyrus's kit, now I never invested in Cyrus, but the word on the street is that Cyrus is actually not that bad. Yeah, he does 1400 damage factor. And then next 3 seconds, the target takes 20% additional damage. And it has this skill right here. If this commander contains only archer unit, whenever it uses a basic attack, it has 10% chance to deal 250 damage factor to the target every second for 3 seconds. And then reduce the skill damage dealt by that target for 40%. Doesn't he have... Yeah, this one. If this commander troop is on the map, whenever it is hit with basic attack, it has 10% chance to do additional damage of 300 to up to 3 enemy troops for 2 seconds. So this is 600 damage factor to 3 targets around you. So if you can actually afford Cyrus, ironically, I think Cyrus deserves to be in the preseason of conquest options that you can consider, in my opinion. He's OP because most of the people are playing early KVK use infantry. I agree with you. I think that's one of the reasons why we use Tukmos. And I was doing really, really well. Oh boy. William. Is he a B or C tier, guys? Is William a B or C tier? Now, I think William is a C tier now because Arthur, Achilles, Philip, Hector, or GamChan, those 5 commanders will basically make the first 2 best marches. The best march and the second best march in cavalry, right? Then the third best march in cavalry is most likely Joan of Arc Prime plus Ho Chi Bing. And anything beyond that, I think, needs to be an outdated section, right? He's still relatively meta. Yeah, because he's able to work with combo. You know, it's gonna pay me to do this, but I might put him above Nevsky. What do you guys think? Should I put him above Nevsky? Because he could still be usable with Arthur. You know what? If some people are using Arthur with William, just so that they can use GamChan with Achilles, by definition, shouldn't he be at the very low bottom of B tier? Maybe he does deserve like the last spot of B tier. above his monument. I'm foreseeing the future. Attila triple S. Oh god, Attila's still here, huh? Oh god. Like, I'm not a big fan of using Attila in the open field, to be honest with you. But let's go ahead. Chandragupta, F tier. Artemisia, F tier. Leonidas, F tier. Guan Yu. I think Guan Yu can be outdated. Like one of the last spots of outdated. Maybe above Trajan. Attila SSS. Yo. Some Attila fans. Alright. And Tommy. I think Tommy's preseason conquest usable. Not as much as Cyrus. But the last spot for preseason conquest options you can consider, I think Tommy deserves that. For open field at the very least. Ah, Attila. What do we need to do with Attila, guys? What do you need to do with Attila? Triple S? No way. No way I'm putting Attila into Triple S. I have a very good respect for our friend... War Daddy Chasky. I know that he uses Attila on the field still, but only because he has Arch, I feel like. Yo, Sticky, how's it going, man? You know, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I think Attila is a B tier. Maybe above everything else with like skill damage. I know you guys want me to put him in the A tier, but I think he deserves a B tier. He's... You know, if I didn't care about what all of you're saying, I honestly would put him as C tier for open field. But that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to do what I'm here to make a video that everyone would like. So peer pressure. I'm gonna put him at the front of the B tier. I'll not take another question about it. From now on, you no longer deserve, bro. Hey, Calf main. I've been disowned by the Calf family. But can you explain the stat reduction versus stat ignored? Is that ignored reduction? I don't know. I honestly don't know what the difference between the stat reduction and stat ignored is. Yeah, I genuinely don't understand what the difference is. Maybe it's the percentage of total versus the total percentage of buff that you're getting rid of. Let's say you have 140% defense buff. Maybe the stat ignore will just take off the last 3.5% or 1.5%, whatever it is. So if you have 1.5% stat ignore, 140% will go down to 138.5%. And maybe the stat reduction will be 40% of the total. So if you have 140% plus, then you know you ignore 40% of that, perhaps. I don't know. So that's going to be a little more, but I don't know 100%. You can go sim for archers. Hey, yo. Musa is a cab main, but look at all those preseason conquest commanders. It's all archers. He's really an archer sim. Yo, guys, no. But Cavalry's in a bad situation, guys. That's just what it is. Like, until you go to Season of Conquest, Cavalry is in a really bad spot. Like, what can you use? You're gonna basically use Minamoto YSG all day, and you get like slightest buff ever that I've ever seen with the addition of Saladin. If you get Saladin, you get like what, 10% better trace. That's it. You're that's the only thing that you're gonna get. And you can't really invest in Genghis Khan because that's another 5% buff. Whereas infantry, if they go over to CJ, they get like what, like a whole new system-wise rework, and that he's like gonna be so overpowered that everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, CJ, no. But you're revoking Codex buff. Oh man. Aye. And like, you know, like, and look at Bertrand. Bertrand is gonna just sit there like, oh no, I'm like worse than Saladin. Like, seriously, the cavalry needs a buff before Season of Conquest. KVK 1 sure is fine with Minamoto YSG, but like KVK 2 guys, like cavalry sucks. Alright. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's go. Let's go move Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, I think, is above Cyrus. For obvious reasons, Alexander the Great is really, really good commander. He has shielding, he has instant proc attack. You will trade better. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe a below Cyrus. Yeah, nowadays I think maybe below Cyrus. But he's a really good commander. I think in KVK 2. It's just that Cyrus is just meant for Season of Conquest. They just moved him over, so the power level is not there, in my opinion. CJ needs a relic. CJ has a relic, no? Does CJ not have a relic already? Yo, see, they didn't give you guys CJ relic? Oh, okay, CJ does not have relic, right? Yeah. Well, CJ does need a relic, in my opinion. Hey, at least you guys actually have good 2 cavalry stuff. You know what I mean? You guys at least have two infantry setup that you can use CJ with, right? CJ no relic. Attila needs another relic. I agree with you, Arblade. If we get Attila another relic, I think we can make cavalry great again. One more time. Where's Attila at? Where's my boy Attila? Sorry, my man Attila. Yeah, the skill damage reduction, yeah, that needs to go to like 10%. The defense needs to go to 15%. You guys know what I mean. Like we've been bullied around by infantry so much in the Garrison Rally setup. Like, we need Attila to have way better buffs. And 5% cav defense, 3% skill damage reduction is not just it. I think this should have been all damage reduction, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. That is my opinion. You don't deserve to say cavalry or Attila, traitor. Hey, yo. Oh, okay. So let's talk about Genghis Khan. Worse than Tommy for sure. Saladin, I think, is better than Genghis Khan just because of how versatile he is. He is a little more versatile than Genghis Khan. In terms of pure power level, I think Genghis Khan is a little better, but Saladin is super tanky. Like, super tanky. Like, he does so much skill damage reduction that it keeps your YSG safe. So that's why I'll put Saladin over there. And most of the damage that you'll be able to see in KVK 2 is going to be skill damage. So there you go. Saladin does deserve a better spot than Genghis Khan. Maybe not necessarily better than Tommy, because Tommy is part of the best rally setup for KVK 2, which is going to be Edward the Gustav with Tommy. But yeah, that's what I'll put in there. Genghis Khan triple S, my goat. He needs a prime. This guy needs a prime, yes. Genghis Khan needs a prime S plus Emperor version. Like, we need the Emperor version of Genghis Khan. Maybe we have a Genghis Khan when he was fighting, when he didn't become an Emperor himself. But like, oh lord. They need to make Genghis Khan better, guys. They need to make Genghis Khan better. They need a relic on Genghis Khan that would actually just not... So let's take a look at Genghis Khan's relic, right? Because we already have him with the relic, right? Yeah. Yeah, this needs to be 1,000. Active skill damage factor needs to be 1,000. And I'm saying nonsense at this point. But yeah, you guys know what I mean. Like, Genghis Khan is like literally the greatest, you know, like owned greatest emperor of all time, to say the least, in terms of conquering, right? He conquered the most amount of land in the history of mankind. Why do we have him sit at the bottom of the pre-season conquest options you can consider? Is my opinion. The fact Mongolia isn't a civ yet is crazy. I know. You know, I think we need a Mongolia cavalry civ where we get rally damage buff of 5%, a garrison damage buff of 5%, 5% health for cavalry health, and I don't need anything else. We need a cavalry buff for Mongolia. In my opinion. Alright, Richard. Probably the bottom of Season Conquest. You can still use him for Barb Chain, so I'm not going to put him at F tier. Pierce, probably right here, I would say. I would give him an extra buff just because of the fact, oh, actually right here. I'll give him extra bump because he can be used with CJ, and on top of that, he is actually usable from KVK1. I think that's pretty fair. Mongolia will be OP cast civilization with Genghis Khan as the meta breaking to Qin Shi Huang commander? Yeah. I think they should. Achilles is like same for Leo. Yeah, Leonidas, yeah, they need a buff for him. Like God. Everyone loved 300. Like, we came to play as Spartans. Like, look at how many people are considering themselves as Spartans among the creator community, right? Like, what's this called? Like, War Daddy Chasky, like, is basically saying that he's 300. His whole concept is 300, right? The Spartans, but like, yeah, like we're using Gorgo, guys. We're using Gorgo over Leonidas. Gorgo is his wife. Although she was a badass wife, I'm sure. Like, the Leonidas himself is rotting at the do not use ever tier list, guys. I don't know. By the way, Gorgo Hector isn't the best garrison. Still, Gorgo Toko is just go test it, yeah? But I think it's better against... Oh, it's not even better against, what? What was it called? Oh, yeah, Shapura Shabanapal, right? Yeah, I mean, I needed him either way. So I invested in Hector heads in the last event on my main account because, you know, I need Hector for my best pairing to, what's his name? The new guy, the David the Fourth. Yeah. So cavalry needs it. It was designed for cavalry. I think a lot of people kind of deviated away to kind of check him out for infantry, but I think he's meant for cavalry garrison at the end of the day. So I'm not surprised. Now, Tubos, I think he deserves a spot here, to be honest. I think even better than like Alex. Tubos is really good, guys. Tubos is really good. And if we consider the KVK1 possibility of him, I think Tubos deserves a better spot than Alex in today, 2025's field. You Cavs are big L. Yeah, we were expecting more something like Shen Shi Huang, but we never got it. It is what it is. Spartans deserve a separate civ. They are goated. I know. They need a separate civ, yeah. Grey Worm is based off of Mongolians. Oh, really? How's my golden situation? I'm at like, I'm really low. I just expertise, yeah, Achilles. So 232. Now my Hector, where are you? Where's my Hector at? Yeah, my Hector is sitting at 122 golden. So yeah, I need a lot. Mulan L, yeah, Mulan. Do not use, but I think better than all those different commanders. The top of the F tier, how about that? I think Ethelflaed is outdated. I think pre-season conquest, I think Ethelflaed is usable. Maybe above these guys. Mehmed, I think deserves a slot below Saladin. Charles Martel for the field, I would say he's probably around here. Minamoto, if you consider his usability in KVK1, I'll go ahead and put him right here. Gilgamesh. Montezuma. Anything that you guys disagree with this, right? Gilgamesh, Montezuma, Minamoto, Ethelflaed, Mehmed, all those commanders. Do you guys disagree with any of them? Mehmed behind Salah? Okay. And I'll go ahead and say bonus to K1 commander. Yeah, KVK1. Yeah, because I'm not talking about just pure strength of those commanders. I'm talking about, okay, as a whole, if you're investing in any of those commanders, are they better? And then I think we can't just say, oh, well, if you're able to use him from KVK 1, like, KVK 2 commanders are going to be naturally better. But, like, I think regarding the fact that, like, why is she really, really good? KVK 1 and KVK 2, right? So I think we kind of deserve, I think we kind of need to give them a little bit of buff. Like, why is G2 most? All those commanders, I think they deserve a little buff. Like, in points. Because they're usable over 2 KVKs, not 1. I think this is good, guys. I think this is good. Now, with 19 of you voted, Baichi has won 10 votes, and Achilles won 9 votes. And we're gonna end the poll here. And with that said, I'm not gonna move around this so much in terms of S tier list. We're gonna put Baichi above Achilles. It is what it is. I think it's good. Bertrand pre-SOC option. Yeah, we'll put him up there, but I think he's gonna be at the bottom of the tier list. I think. Like, I use him. He's really bad. Personally, that's just how I feel personally. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys are watching this on the video side, really do appreciate you guys watching an hour and 7 minutes long. I would like to say special thanks to everyone who joined in the discussion to make this tier list prediction, with GamChan into the mix, as well as potentially David the Fourth. I know that some people are talking about like David the Fourth's like viability on the field. I don't think it's there, just because like half of his kit is related to Garrison. But maybe when that changes, or if that changes ever, maybe we can change that. But I think this is a good tier list. We made some adjustment based on the GamChan's edition, as well as Hector and Achilles' like tested out stuff. So I think this is a good prediction tier list for our upcoming meta that we'll see for the next couple months until we see the next infantry commander release. But maybe we'll update it once GamChan comes into the game for real. But thanks to everyone who has participated in the chat. I think this was a fun little KVK prediction tier list for open field. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see y'all in the next video, and I'll close out the recording right